The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Last summer, my brother looked into all options possible to take care of the Dan Markel problem, including hiring a hitman. She was dead serious.
And was that subject Harvey Adelson?
It was, yes. But this is just one incoming phone call from that 786 number. And again, that was on July 1st of 2014 at 5:20 p.m.
Who did the 786 number belong to?
So the 786 number belonged to Sigfredo Garcia.
Should Wendy be worried? And how about Harvey? More about the dysfunctional family dynamics at the center of Mama Donna Adelson's trial. This is we're counting down to court resuming this hour. We're taking you live inside of the Florida courtroom. Plus, Cardi B's claws coming out in court, the rapper taking the stand and denying assault allegations. So, how well did she do? And a plastic surgeon is joining us live to talk about the accuser's alleged injuries and whether her claims are ringing true. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Wednesday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Are you ready for some coffee and some court? That's what I like to call this show. This is where we get you all warmed up and ready to go for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. And we've got a big show planned to do just that. So let's start it off as we always do. Grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. I hope the jurors in Cardi B's trial got their eyes checked. I hope they all have perfect vision, because in order to assess the evidence of the plaintiff's alleged injuries, they're going to need it. Plaintiff Imani Ellis was working as a security guard when she claims that Cardi B assaulted her. She says that Cardi B yelled at her, called her terrible names, and scratched her face with her long fingernails. Now, I want to show you the photo of her alleged facial injury. And if you wear glasses like me, you'll want to put them on right now. So let's take a look at this together. The woman's cheek injury that supposedly required over $17,000 worth of plastic surgery to fix. Do you see this? The only thing that I see when I look at this photo is why Cardi B went to trial. Good for her. You know, my friends, she is wealthy and she could have made this go away if she wanted to, but she didn't settle. And when looking at this exhibit, I can see why. The plaintiff also waited 4 years to even go see the plastic surgeon for the scar treatments. This questionable encounter happened in 2018, and the first doctor appointment was in 2022. Also, why didn't she go to police to file a criminal complaint for assault? Why choose civil court? I'll tell you why. Probably for damages. A fancy legal word for money, because damages can only be sought and paid out in civil court. But when you seek them, you have to prove them. And to me, that photo doesn't prove a thing in the way of damages. To me, it proves that Cardi B made a smart decision in going to trial. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
I personally feel like if there's no physical touch, there is no incident. There was a verbal altercation. If you think that that's an incident, a verbal altercation, then it's an incident for you.
In California, the case I'm just talking about, Cardi B is expected to return to the stand in her civil assault case that's going to kick off at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. In Georgia, we are on a verdict watch in the speeding trooper homicide trial for defendant A.J. Scott. Day 2 of deliberations begins at 10 a.m. Eastern. And in Florida, we've got the state's case resuming in the murder trial for Mama Donna Adelson. Everything's set to kick off at 8:45 a.m. and we're going to go in there live as soon as it does. That is, of course, our top story for you as well. So are prosecutors working their way up to Wendy? That's the burning question this morning. You know, seems like a lot of the testimony in Mama Donna's trial is revealing more about Wendy's alleged involvement. A chilling conversation between Wendy and a former boyfriend took center stage on Tuesday. Court TV's Julia Janae has more from Tallahassee.
Good morning, Julie. That's right. We are standing by for day 4 to begin in the case against Donna Adelson. This is a complicated case for these jurors. There's just no way around it. They have got to digest information about everything that happened since the murder of Dan Markel 11 years ago. They've been shown a flow chart of how the state says this plot is connected to 2 hitmen and the Adelson family and the victim. They're hearing a lot of names and players. But what exactly is the evidence against Donna? That's the real question here. Now, on the stand Tuesday, an ex-boyfriend of Wendy Adelson, Donna's daughter, said that he noticed that Donna was overly involved in Wendy's life. Then a financial examiner confirmed that Donna signed the business checks that were paid to Charlie's ex and convicted co-conspirator Catherine McBan. She also took the stand.
Besides the one time you had that dental appointment, and you saw Mrs. Adelson. You met her, Donna Adelson.
Yes, ma'am.
After that, you never talked to her again, did you?
Not that I can recall.
So you heard there Donna Adelson's defense emphasizing that Catherine McBan really didn't have any communication with Donna. That's the one that the prosecution has to prove all of the elements of conspiracy and solicitation to commit murder in front of this jury. When things get started again, we're going to hear from Sergeant Corbett again. He was on the stand at the end of the day, and we expect to hear a final voicemail that Dan Markel left for Wendy Adelson not long before he was gunned down. In Tallahassee, Julia Janae with Court TV.
All right, our thanks to Julia for that early update. So will there be more Adelsons charged in connection to Danny Markel's murder? Will Wendy be next? And what about Harvey? Let's talk about it. Let's bring in our legal eagles, both of them practicing in the state of Florida. We have criminal defense and civil rights attorney Casey Early with us, and the former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. He's in private practice now, Dave Ehrenberg. Good morning to you both. Dave, let me start with you and talk about what these prosecutors are doing. A lot of people were watching the trial yesterday saying, wait a second, we're in Donna's trial. We're hearing a lot about Wendy. You think they're zeroing in on her?
Well, that's coming, and as far as Wendy, I do think she'll be next, but as far as Donna, the real meat, like the bump and all the real evidence against Donna will be coming. I do think it's important what the prosecutors are doing, and there are people out there that share your angst, Julie, because I got a bunch of texts about it, like, why aren't they talking about Donna? Because the defense's theory is that every other family member was involved with this, except for Donna. Yes, Charlie did it. Yes, Wendy did it, but not Donna. Somehow the one person who was pulling all the strings, somehow the one domineering, controlling person who was involved in every aspect of their kid's life, somehow was absent when it came to this. Really? And the fact is that if the prosecution can show that Charlie and Wendy were heavily involved in this, and they are doing so, then it is impossible to believe that Donna was not. So I think they're on the right track.
Oh, yeah, Dave, I think you're absolutely right. Helicopter Mom of the Year, Mama Donna seems to be. Casey Early, doing criminal defense work. I'm sure you get those calls from clients sometimes that say, oh, I feel like charges may be coming. Lawyer, what do I do? And, you know, you advise them, and then you both anticipate what's coming their way, and then you deal with it accordingly. Casey, do you think Wendy's having that call, calling her lawyer up, saying, oh, boy, I'm expecting something? In other words, do you think she's expecting the charges? I know some of us are. Do you think she is, Casey?
I've been saying that from the very beginning. This case is over 10 years old, and she has been living in a lie, but also in fear. And I'm going to take the defense perspective for a moment, because I don't believe, from a defense perspective, not personally watching this case, by the way, that the state has proved knowledge, not knowledge, but an agreement, as well as specific intent, right? We know that she had knowledge, but we know that that's not enough, right? So if the defense continues to stay on that road, that she was just doing what Charlie told her to do, but Charlie really never explained, you know, why the checks were written. It could have been written because that was his girlfriend, and it could go along with that theory that she needed these checks for her apartment or for the insurance. The money exchange is not enough because we don't have the actual evidence that she actually put this money in the laundry. And I like what the defense did. McBan did not even see the money till days later. So how do we know that that money wasn't wet from Sigfredo or anyone who had that money? So that is not enough to stick. Hate is not enough to stick. How many mother-in-law horror stories have we heard? So I just don't believe that they have that agreement, specific intent enough at this moment. But as we all know, she was in their lives to the T. She orchestrated everything, including that detailed email she sent to Wendy. So Wendy is definitely coming days after this verdict.
Spoken like a true defense attorney, which you are, Casey. Thank you for that. Let's do a clip from Jeffrey Lacasse, this poor guy, Wendy's boyfriend. And then it seems, based on some of what he said, like perhaps Wendy may have been trying to set him up. Let's listen.
After I challenge her, can I tell you something in confidence? Sure. Well, last summer, my brother looked into all options possible to take care of the Dan Markel problem, including hiring a hitman, and it would cost about $15,000.
Okay, and when she referred to her brother, she's got two of those, right?
She said Charlie. I found chilling, I found disturbing, it made my stomach flip, it kind of took me aback. She was dead serious.
And he shared that the week of the murder, Wendy was very interested in where he was going to be traveling and when on Friday, the day that Dan Markel was shot at his house. And he said, the 2 times, within that month that he happened to travel, or within the 2-month period, June and July, that was when the hitmen happened to be in town. Coincidence? Dave Ehrenberg, what do you say?
Not a coincidence, especially because what kind of car did the hitmen rent the first time they came up? A car that was identical to the car that Jeffrey Lacasse was driving. Coincidence? I think not. And it is interesting that the 2 times that they came to town were the 2 times and only 2 times that Jeff Lacasse were traveling out of town for work. They wanted to pin it on him. That's why Wendy was so interested as to when he was leaving. Fortunately, he changed his trip at the last minute. He had an alibi. He had a flat tire, so he was on camera showing he wasn't the one who did it. But this shows why I believe that we're all in agreement here that Wendy is going to be next. The only way Wendy escapes this is if this case against Donna ends in an acquittal. Then I think the whole thing is over. Absent that, yeah, she's in the prosecutor's sights.
Oh, really good point there, Dave. Thank you. Let's talk about another Adelson. We had one of those moments yesterday where everybody went, ooh, Harvey. Did Harvey have anything to do with this? Casey, I've got a clip for you. This is where the investigator makes the connection that his phone number was communicating with one of the hitmen, Mr. Sigfredo Garcia.
Phone number that was present here in Tallahassee around the Premier Health and Fitness that was also in the call detail records for one of the subjects of the investigation.
And was that subject Harvey Adelson?
It was, yes. But this is just one incoming phone call from that 786 number. And again, that was on July 1st of 2014 at 5:20 p.m.
Who did the 786 number belong to?
So the 786 number belonged to Sigfredo Garcia.
Casey, early is Harvey calling his lawyer too.
I was surprised when I heard that part because I've always said Wendy, I always said the mom. I never said Harvey because he just seemed like the nonchalant guy that doesn't know what's going on, passive. His wife is the authoritative figure. But at the same time, that really doesn't tell you much. If that's all they have, there's no way, right? Because if Donna is in control, how do we know that Donna did not use his phone number to kind of protect herself? So that is not much unless something else comes out. But we know with those call logs, the calls were mainly between Charlie, his girlfriend, and the hitman. So it wasn't really, the cell phone records that can tie him in. There was no mention of any conversations with him. So that's definitely not enough. But I will say that if knowledge was enough, then Wendy's ex-boyfriend would have been charged accordingly, because you heard what he said. She confided in him and he was scared that she was serious, but not serious enough to go to authorities to possibly stop this. So again, they're going to have to prove more in order to secure a conviction against the mom.
Another great legal point, Casey. Thank you for that. More Adelson talk still to come, my friends. Dave Ehrenberg, we get to say goodbye, and a big thank you to you for joining us this morning. We'll see you soon. Casey is coming with us, and please do the same at home. When we come back, we'll talk about convicted felon Catherine McBan, Charlie's old girlfriend. There she is. Did she tip the scales for Mama Donna? Plus,
I feel like when I got sued, I was like, when I got sued, I was like, oh, I know I didn't touch her. Like, it's like, look for the cameras, because they'll tell you.
Cardi B is going to be back on the stand today. So is the rapper's story believable? Our power panel weighs in.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
My name is Beverly Marlene.
Cardi B taking the stand on Tuesday during her civil assault trial. Welcome back to Opening Statements. So she was called by the plaintiff. So remember, this is a civil case. And so what the plaintiff gets to do in a civil case, it's kind of weird. It's different from what we see in criminal cases. They can call the defendant. And so they can call them as what's called a hostile witness. And then today, what we'll see is Cardi B's attorney, her attorney, get a chance to cross-examine her. Very different than what we see in criminal court. But she took the stand. We know she's a Grammy Award-winning rapper, and we didn't know what she was going to say, but she stood firm by her claims that the incident in question was verbal only, and that neither she nor the former security guard, Imani Ellis, touched one another.
Have you ever used the N-word with Miss Imani Ellis?
No.
Did you try to take a swing at her?
No.
When you say there was a verbal altercation,
Yes.
do you know what the word altercation means?
Like a conflict.
Like a fight, right?
It was like a verbal fight, but it didn't get physical at all.
When I'm talking to you now, are we having a verbal altercation?
We having, I'll say, a debate.
And we're debating about whether you assaulted and battered Miss Imani Ellis, correct?
It's no, I guess so, but I didn't touch her. She didn't touch me, so.
So how'd you think Cardi B did on the stand? That was a moment there. She got the whole courtroom laughing, the jury laughing with her. That's a good sign if you can do that in trial. So let's bring back in attorney Casey Early and welcome in attorney Franz Borghardt and media personality and artist Headcrack. Good morning to you all. Headcrack, I want to begin with you. How did you think Cardi B did on the stand?
I mean, charming as always. I mean, Cardi B at some point could run for public office, maybe mayor of the Bronx if she wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, she just got that, that charisma, that pizzazz that diffuses most situations, unless you're in a situation like she's in right now where she had to pop off. And, you know, we're from the Bronx. That's what we do sometimes.
There you go. Yeah, you know, when the jury laughed, that moment, and I heard it live, I was watching last night, and then I watched it back a couple times. That was good. I tell you what, and that attorney, I wondered if he regretted giving her such leeway with that answer. Franz, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I celebrate Cardi B's entire catalog of music. And I think her best lyric ever was, "I was born to flex." And yesterday we saw some serious flexing. Excellent witness. I think she probably caught the attorney off guard and was disarming. I think, you know, you listen to her music and you think one thing, and you see her on the stand and you get this, and she is amazing. I think she is the perfect defendant for this kind of a case. And look, I think you said it best earlier, Julie. She has the money to make this go away, but on principle alone, I think she is fighting and she is going to prevail on this.
Franz, thank you for that. Yeah, and I want to pick all of your brains about that too, the actual allegation and that photograph where you need You know, I have my glasses here, but I'm seeing a microscope to see what this plaintiff is talking about. Casey, first, though, I want to get your thoughts on Cardi B. What did you think of her overall?
She did well, you know, but there's a cardinal rule as an attorney. You don't ask a question that you don't know what the response is going to be, and you have to maintain control. And I don't think that he did that. I believe that his presentation was horrible in the fact that, and I'm not being rude, just you know, as a litigator, what questions to ask and what questions will draw objections. Why are you asking hypotheticals when you're constantly getting objection calls for speculation? She's not an expert. She's a lay witness. So stick to the facts. What he should have done was just go ahead and ask that question so that he would elicit the responses that he already knows he's going to get. She charmed the jury. I do believe that this will be favorable on her side, also based on the evidence or the lack thereof.
Yes, I love the point you made about the rules of evidence, Casey, and because it's weird, as I was explaining, in civil court, it's kind of opposite of what we see in criminal court, and we know the burden's much lower, but as you said, you know, he should have been leading her, and that's what the rule, that's why you call somebody as a hostile witness, because you get the benefit of crossing them. You own them. That's what you do when you're an attorney, and it was like, somebody watching it may not have even realized it was opposing counsel who was doing the questioning, because it was so, as you said, Casey, so open-ended, and yeah, he got himself in trouble on that one, and she was very charming, as you noted. So let's talk more about this plaintiff who filed this suit. So Imani Ellis is her name. She used to be a security guard. She no longer is in that position. She testified first on Monday when the trial kicked off, said that she had this altercation that became physical with Cardi B, who was pregnant at the time and going to this office building where she worked as a security guard for a doctor's appointment. She claims that Cardi B's fingernails slashed her face. Cardi B was questioned about the length of her nails on Tuesday. Listen to her response.
Your fingernails, can you show them to us for all of us to see? How long are those fingernails? Just your best estimate. I don't want you to take a ruler to it, but if you were to give your estimate, is that half an inch, 1 inch, 2 inches?
I think it has to be less than an inch.
Okay.
Way less than an inch.
Right. Can you show them to us again? All right. Are they pointy?
These are not, to me, are not pointy. They're like circle, oval.
Okay. Are those your real nails or are they fake nails?
Fake nails.
All right, so our next question for the power panel. Do Cardi B's nails seem as dangerous as this plaintiff is alleging? Head crack, back to you.
I've never been scratched by a woman. So I would say that, you know, it's all possible. But to me, do I think that Cardi B, a famous woman, a famous pregnant woman, walking into a hospital would fight a security guard who might be a little bit more trained in combat than she is? I don't think so. You know, so like she could have got that scratch in a myriad of other ways. And how bad was that scratch? You said you had to pull your glasses out to see it. That could have happened anywhere, and she's using that to build a case.
Mm-hmm, right. Casey, to you next, please. What did you think of the nail allegation?
The plaintiff lost credibility when she did not file a police report. So you were scratched. And not only did you not file a police report, let's just put that aside. You didn't document your injuries. You didn't go immediately, even to urgent care. I'll give you that. You didn't seek any medical attention. And then when you hear 4 years, it's like you just, it's gone after that. So you waited 4 years to seek medical attention. And to be quite frank, I don't even believe that a cosmetologist or this plastic surgeon would have told you, you know, let's wait a year or two and let's see how it heals. That's the purpose of cosmetic surgery. It's elective. And I just don't buy it. I think that she was kind of building from the fact that he passed away, so he can't testify to the contrary. It's not credible. I believe that she was in a position as a security guard, and she was in a fan moment and got offended. And that is the reason that she's suing. I don't believe it.
Casey, great points. Franz, to you next, please. How dangerous are Cardi B's nails? Your thoughts on the allegations?
Well, maybe there's something wrong with me, but if I got scratched by Cardi B, I'd be wearing that like a badge of honor. I mean, everybody, like on the street, random strangers, is like, look, it's a baby. If you can even see it, it's a baby gash. That's the problem. The problem is this security guard has telegraphed her motives through her actions. She did not call the police. She saw a celebrity that has money, and she thought dollar bills. And look, she's not even original. This is not the first person to try such a thing. I agree with Casey. The credibility is the issue, right? And look, you don't need a gash on an assault case to prove damages, but when you're trying to assert damages that seem fictitious, it makes the entire house of cards fall.
Great points, Franz. Thank you. I want to go back to Cardi B's story for a moment with you, Headcrack, because I found her testimony to be really illuminating. Something that came out when she took the stand was how the interaction was initiated. And her testimony is that they ran into each other at an elevator. One was going out, one was coming in, and she said that as she kept walking, she could see the security guard or feel her, she said, behind her, following her. And she said when she looked back, she had her cell phone, positioned in front of her. And she said that made me think, oh, she's recording me. And she turned around and called her out and just say, what are you doing? And the woman said something like, my bad, and then kept following her. And then she said, why are you following me? And it was, well, because I can. And Cardi B said she had heard her whispering initially in the elevator, like, whoa, that's Cardi B. Like as if she was kind of like marking out that this was a celebrity and she was just, oh my gosh, and I've got to follow her and take her picture. For me, that really makes me sympathize with Cardi B. What do you think, Headcrack?
I mean, I hang out with a lot of people who are way more famous than me, and I witnessed this firsthand. Like, people, acting like they're doing something on their phone, but low-key they secretly recording you and things like that. And, when it's something personal and private, like a pregnancy or OBGYN visit, you don't want the world to know your business, or even that telegraph to the world, especially if the world doesn't know you're pregnant yet, which I think that was the case at that time. So I understand why Cardi B would be on the defense and be like, hey, why are you recording me? So I see it all the time.
Right, and I appreciate you sharing that experience. Yeah, because it's unprofessional. You expect professionalism. She deserves everybody to be as professional as they would be for someone who's not famous that's coming in. I'm sure that security guard isn't just recording random people and saying, oh, that's, Joe Schmo who came in off the street today. No. Yeah, she was doing something to get some viral video, it sounds like. We'll leave it here for now. She'll be back on the stand later today, and we're going to talk more on the other side of the break. Headcrack, thank you very much for making time with us this morning. Always love having you on the show. And when we come back, we're going to dig into the accuser side of the story. Those little marks on her face that you can barely see. Well, we have our own expert joining us. A plastic surgeon joins us live next to talk about whether these claims and the money amounts that she paid for the treatment ring true. And I want to show you a live look at the courtroom where Mama Donna Adelson's trial is going to resume shortly. You can see the deputies milling about and us zooming in on the seal of the great state of Florida. We'll be right back.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back to Opening Statements. Our spotlight this morning, we're shining on the allegations made against music superstar Cardi B. Plaintiff Imani Ellis, the security guard who's accusing Cardi B of striking her at a Beverly Hills OB/GYN clinic during a prenatal appointment in 2018. Now, Cardi B says it was just a verbal argument and denies any physical contact took place between the two. Well, Ellis took the stand first to explain what she says happened.
I said something along the lines of, that looks like Cardi B, or wow, that's Cardi B. She turned back around, and the first thing out of her mouth was, excuse my language, was, why the are you telling people that you see me? She was sticking her tongue out, she was flailing her arms up and down, she was jumping up and down, body shaming me, I mean, racial slurs, just a lot.
And did she spit on you?
She did.
Did her spit actually land on your body?
It did.
Did the defendant take a swing at you?
She did.
When she took a swing at you, it didn't hit your body, correct?
No.
Did the defendant use her fingernails to cut your face?
She did.
Okay, so that's the injury she's alleging, and that's a pointer. You can say, I should point out that the doctor's using in the courtroom, and this is a a shot of her face where he's using that pointer to point to what she says is a scar left on her face that required treatment, over $17,000 of plastic surgery treatment. And there was testimony that she may still need more treatment. I believe microneedling was what the doctor suggested she could use some of to get this scar to disappear. Personally, I can't see it. I'm not a plastic surgeon, but guess what? We're welcoming one on the show right now to weigh in. Board-certified plastic and reconstructive surgeon Dr. Craig Ozer is joining us this morning alongside attorney Franz Borghardt. Great to have you, Dr. Craig. All right, so. Oh, it's our pleasure. So looking at this photograph, you know, as a lay person, I don't see a whole heck of a lot. What do you see as a plastic surgeon?
Yeah, I mean, the scar, is it terrible? No. Do I see certain things there? I do. The scar looks a little bit on the wider side and also a little bit what we call hyperpigmented. And sometimes, you know, patients get super fixated, especially when it's their face on these things. But in the standpoint of scars, how terrible it is, I mean, I'd probably put it like a 3 to a 4. That's about it.
Dr. Craig, I want to show you some testimony from the doctor who treated this plaintiff. And this is where he's in front of the jury using that pointer we see in the photograph, telling the jury about the scars on the face. Let's watch.
There's the main scar here. And this entire area here shows differences in the skin, sort of a general area that's very different from the rest of the skin. And there's a little linear mark here, and there's another one over here. So those are the 3 marks that I was talking about. This is the main scar down the center.
Dr. Craig, how do you treat a fingernail scratch to the face like this plaintiff alleges she suffered from?
Yeah, so I mean, a fingernail scratch typically would be treated several ways, depending on how deep the actual laceration was. If it's really deep, sometimes we put a couple stitches in. If it's just superficial, more of what we call an abrasion, that I typically just treat with topical antibiotics, plus or minus maybe some oral antibiotics, along with some scar cream, usually after a week, and then you see how it heals. And the scar typically takes up to a year to get what we call a mature scar.
Speaking of maturity, Dr. Craig, 4 years passed between the time this questionable incident happened and the treatment request. Does that make it tougher for you as a doctor when so much time passes from the event?
Well, not necessarily from the surgical standpoint. It doesn't make it difficult, but usually at that point, I mean, I usually say to patients, like, how traumatic of an injury is this to you? And I agree with you. I don't really think it's that bad. And my personal opinion would be just to try and treat it with less conservative measures rather than a surgical excision. Surgical excision I usually reserve for scars that we call keloid, which are thickened, or hypertrophic scar. Then we can excise it and restitch it up. Something like this, maybe just some scar cream along with microneedling, or sometimes even a laser to help with some of the hyperpigmentation. That's pretty much it.
This is really helpful, what you're sharing with us, Dr. Craig. Franz, I want to turn to you for some legal perspective here. Let's say there are jurors on this case who are like me, who are going, oh, I need to put on the glasses and I still can't see anything. Ugh. What do you do if you're the plaintiff's counsel?
So the problem is this is the textbook definition, the law school example of frivolous lawsuit. I mean, on the street, we would look at this gash, this disfigurement, and say, girl, maybe you want to put on a little bit of cocoa butter cream on there and just wish for the best. There's nothing there. That's the problem. And the irony is, Julie, the irony is we know that for an assault, you don't need disfigurement. You don't need marks. You don't need to embellish or exaggerate. Now, look, on the other side, if you're the plaintiff's attorney, maybe he's going to spin this as, look, just because you don't think it's a big deal that there's this Grand Canyon-sized gash, and thank God she's still alive after this nail incident, just because you don't think it's a big deal, she has to walk around with this, and we're vain creatures. I just don't think that works. I think that this never should have made a courtroom, and I think this is going to be zero out.
I'm with you, Franz. I'm with you. Let's talk about the money amount. So this plastic surgeon came into court, testified that there were two major procedures done that take up the bulk of the money that was accounted for here. Apparently, it's $17,500 is the outstanding bill being done on what's called a lien basis. So she didn't put anything up front. She likely let them know she's in the middle of a lawsuit, and once that lawsuit money comes in, she'll pay out the doctor, and that lien will be taken care of. Dr. Craig, does $17,000 sound right to you for treatment for this?
Well, I know it sounds pretty excessive when you hear it like that, but you got to understand, when we take a patient to the operating room, which is what this doctor did, you're also incurring other expenses. For example, you have to pay for the operating room fees. You have to pay for the anesthesia fees. So it's not like that doctor got the total $17,500. Some of that, of course, he did, but he's supposed to pay for the facility fee and the anesthesia fee associated with the repair. And along with that, you got to remember it's in California. So Beverly Hills, of course, is more expensive than if you're talking where I am here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So is it excessive? Not so much for Beverly Hills. Out here, I think it is. Something like me, I would probably just do this in my office, to be quite frank with you, and we'd save the patient those additional OR and anesthesia fees.
This is so helpful. This is exactly why we wanted to have you on the show, Dr. Craig. You're the guy back in Pittsburgh, the guy to go to when people think about plastic surgeons. Thank you so much, my friend, for coming on. Please come back, Dr. Craig. We've got more cases.
I'd love to. I'd love to.
We'd love to have you. Thank you so much. And Franz is going to stay with us. And guess what? I want to show you a live look at Florida. We have some movement in the courtroom as we're getting ready for Mama Donna Adelson's trial to resume. We'll be right back.
This is the Court TV podcast.
We're live in Florida, getting ready for the start of Mama Donna's trial this Wednesday morning. Tuesday was a big day. A key figure in the trial of Mama Donna is, of course, Catherine McBan. And we remember her. We've seen her a lot, right? She testified against Charlie. We saw her going on trial twice to get to the place she is now, which is behind bars. And she was kind of the go-between between Charlie and the man she has a child with, Sigfredo Garcia, the hitman, the man who pulled the trigger to murder Danny Markel. Now, Catherine McBan said that she never spoke to Mama Donna, though, about the murder.
Did you ever discuss the murder with Wendy Adelson?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever discuss Dan Markel's schedule with her?
No, ma'am.
So the only person you talked about it with at all was Charlie and Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
So who benefited from her testimony, Donna or Wendy? Let's bring in our legal eagles, Franz Borghardt and Casey Early, to weigh in on this. All right, Katie McBan, we've seen her before. No real surprises yesterday. What did you both think about in terms of how she might have tipped the scales? Casey, your thoughts?
I don't think she did, right? Because she has been a consistent habitual liar throughout all the previous trials. And if she had a come to Jesus moment where she just all of a sudden decided to tell the truth, it's still going to hurt her, because she's serving a life sentence, and she did state on the stand, even though there were no promises made by the prosecution, that she would like to see her kids one day. So that could possibly hang in the jury's mind. But again, she already testified that she did not speak to Donna. She did not speak to Wendy. So again, this doesn't prove that there was some type of agreement or specific intent to carry out this plan to kill Mr. Markel. So I don't believe it was tipped against Donna or Wendy. And I do believe that her involvement was, it just didn't tip the scales at all.
I got you. Franz, what did you think about Miss Catherine Katie McBan?
I am making, on August 27th, I'm making two predictions, Julie.
Ooh,
prediction number one, Wendy's going to get arrested. Number two, I don't think that they've made the case against Donna. Do I think that Donna absolutely played a part in this? You're right, I do. But I think that there are some serious evidentiary issues as to the legal elements. Now, does the jury snatch onto that? Do they grasp that? I think Donna may walk, Julie. I think we're going to see Donna possibly walk, and I think Wendy, we need to be checking the airport to make sure she doesn't have any plane tickets to Vietnam. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Franz, I'm with you, and I know Courtney's on too. I was seeing people were leaving that on my social media yesterday. Is anybody at the airport? Because Wendy might have a one-way ticket like her parents did. Yes. Okay, so we need to just kind of back the truck up with your second prediction, Franz. I need to clarify. Is it a firm prediction that you think Mama Donna's going to walk, or is that just as of today? Because we know there's more trial that's still ahead.
Unless we see something that is more significant than what we have seen thus far. What we've seen thus far is there was a conspiracy, there was a murder for hire thing going on, but Donna's role at most right now, she was a bookkeeper cutting checks. Now, we all can look at that and say, oh, Mama Donna knew what was going on. She knew what time it was. But I don't know that all 12 of them are going to agree with that, because sometimes a bookkeeper just does what she's told and she just cuts checks. So I need more, Julie. Not saying she didn't do it, not saying she isn't a part of the conspiracy. I'm saying in terms of the prosecution's case, Florida needs to step it up and present a little bit more and go arrest Wendy.
Yeah, no, I love what you're saying, Franz. Yes, they should step it up and do some more. I'm with you. Let me take things a step further. So with the idea that maybe Donna's just a bookkeeper, Casey, does the fact that Catherine McBan said she was present when Charlie was given some freshly laundered cash by Mama Donna that was washed, what bookkeepers washing their money, does that make you think she's worried about paw prints on the dough?
That makes me think she had some knowledge, because who washes money, right? Like, that is just highly suspicious. I mean, that was like actual, she took the word money laundering to a whole nother level. But right, that literally shows me that she handled, but she handled the cash, and she knew that something nefarious or something illegal was happening, so she wanted to wash away her DNA. And that's what tells me that she knew something was going on. But again, is that sufficient? Not at all. Because again, if that is sufficient, then you might as well arrest Wendy's ex-boyfriend, because he knew a little bit more as well. So I don't believe that that's enough, but that's enough to tear her down as a grandmother who knew what was going on and failed to stop it.
I tell you what, this is a great conversation. This is why you both are so good at what you do. You got us thinking about so many things as we're going into this morning's testimony. I know you guys both have cases to win. We got to let you go to court. Franz Borghardt, Casey Early, thank you both so very much. We'll hit a break. That is it for opening statements, friends. If you like the episode, watch it again, share it, tell your friends about it. We put them up every day on courttv.com for you. Just click on that lovely red shows tab. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on courttv.com.